Hi, FlossTube friends. This is Tina Frazier coming to you from Columbus, Ohio. Today is Thursday, May 8th at approximately 11:05 p.m. Eastern Time. Coming to you today with a wonderful FlossTube update. So it's been a little bit since I have seen you. There's been lots of things going on in my life in general, and just trying to come to you with a FlossTube update. If you're new to my channel, thank you very much for stopping by. This is my YouTube channel where I talk about mostly my love of cross stitch, but other crafts that I love to do. I also am going to be starting up some live stream gaming. There's a couple of video games through Steam that I am currently playing, including Dinkum and Palia. And I will be hopefully streaming more of those games here on my channel. So if you're into gaming, I hope you will come by and watch some of my streaming videos. But also, hopefully, if you're into crafting like me, you will find some inspiration here on my channel to learn a new craft if you haven't tried cross stitching or any of the other crafts that I do and feature on here. And hopefully you'll find something that will inspire you to come back and watch some more. If you're a returning watcher, thank you very much for stopping by. All of you that watch my videos here on YouTube are friends of mine, so thank you very much for becoming a good friend. I look forward to spending time with you, and hopefully you will feel the same. So, if you're a returning subscriber, you're a really good friend. Thank you very much for being my friend and for coming back time and time again to watch what I have to offer. And if you have not yet clicked the subscription button below, I encourage you to do so. And also click the notification bell so you'll be notified when I upload new content. My intent is to upload a couple of times a month. It doesn't always happen because life gets in the way and other things happen. So anyway, if you do click the notification bell, you will hopefully get a notification in your inbox, wherever you get them, that I have new content to watch. So hopefully you'll come back. So I encourage you to do that. And thank you for stopping by today. I'm looking forward to sharing with you. Today's video is all about cross stitch and some plans and just some life updates that are going on here on my channel. I happened to look at some stats today for my channel, found out I have 742 subscribers. I don't know how many are watching my videos without subscribing, but anyway, I do have 742 subscribers, so thank you very much to those 742 friends really good friends that I have. I have a goal this year of hopefully hitting 1,000 subscribers. So if you are a YouTube channel that features the under 1,000 subs club, please consider putting my name out there. I would really appreciate any kind of shout outs and whatnot. I do have 366 videos up on my channel. Some of them include videos where I do the 12 Days of Christmas unboxing with my mom for the Moe's sale 12 Days of Christmas, and some of them include diamond painting videos and just general ghost hunting videos, because ghost hunting is a thing I like to do in my spare time if I have a chance. And just, hopefully you will find something here that you like. So thank you very much. I have a goal this year of hitting 1,000 subscribers. If I get to 1,000 subscribers, I have quite a few things that I would like to de-stash from my personal collection for you. I have some stuff lined up, some neat things that hopefully you'll find just as neat. So be sure that when I do get close to 1,000 subscribers, that you are subscribed, and hopefully you will be the lucky recipient of some of my de-stashing for my 1,000 subscribers event. So thank you very much for stopping in. Today's video is all about cross stitch, thus FlossTube, the subset of YouTube videos that talk about cross stitch are known as FlossTube because we stitch using embroidery floss to make very beautiful pictures on blank fabric using colorful embroidery floss. So therefore we call our videos FlossTube. So thank you very much for stopping by. First off, I'm going to talk to you about some April updates and April wrap up, some stats, and show you the progress on the pieces that I've worked on for April and a little bit of the stitching that I've done for May, which isn't much so far. I'm going to talk to you about May plans going forward and some kind of life updates and a little bit about the loss of a cross stitch friend of mine. Unfortunately, I had a friend pass away on March 17th. Haven't talked a lot about it, but she passed away on March 17th. And her celebration of life is this coming Saturday, so that's going to be a little sad thing in my life. I'm going to also talk to you about things coming up in June and a couple of the stitch retreats that are happening later this year, including Camp GottaStitch, which is happening the weekend before Labor Day and towards the end of August. So I have some information for you to pass on to you for that, and how you can get in touch with the organizers of that retreat if you're interested in joining. So be on the lookout for that. I also have kind of a little bit of an update for the Stitching in the Springs retreat. Not really an update for the retreat per se, but Kat Jones, the person that has organized Stitching in the Springs in Yellow Springs, Ohio. She has kind of a life update that's related to stitching. So I have to share that with you as well. And we'll just generally have fun together. So sit back, relax, grab a project. If you have a project to stitch on, grab your favorite drink. I am drinking an iced coffee out of my double-walled Starbucks. This is a Starbucks tumbler. You're not going to be able to see. You can kind of see the little lady in the symbol here. My husband and I have been collecting these Starbucks double-walled tumblers. We don't buy a lot of Starbucks, but our Kroger, which is our grocery store that we shop at, has a Starbucks in it. And a lot of times they put their tumblers, they have the short ones and then the tall ones. They'll put their tumblers in the half-off clearance section of the grocery store. So we've been buying half-off tumblers from Starbucks. So we have quite a collection growing. I think we're up to about 20 or 25 of them. And for some reason, somebody at work has also been putting in old Starbucks tumblers in the free to a good home bin in the little pantry area at work. So 2 weeks ago, I came home with 3 brand new ones for free. So yeah, we've been kind of sort of unofficially collecting Starbucks tumblers. So this is in my Starbucks fund. It's not Starbucks coffee that I'm drinking in here. It is a Keurig iced coffee brand, Green Mountain iced coffee that I have in here with some zero sugar creamer and some zero sugar sweetener. So I'm drinking iced coffee in my Starbucks tumbler. Grab a drink, grab your stitching, grab a book, do some other things, start your cleaning, do whatever you need to do. And just follow along with me as I take you through my cross stitch updates. So thank you very much for stopping by. Looking forward to sharing with you today. So April updates. So we have the April wrap up. And in April, so far, my April has been the month with the most amount of stitches that I have stitched. So up until April, the most amount I stitched was in January with 1,422 stitches. In February, I only stitched 969 stitches. In March, I had my least amount of stitches so far with 703 stitches. And then we hit February, you guys. February, I ended up stitching 2,517 stitches in the month of February, and we'll get to talking about why. So, did I say February? 2,517 stitches in the month of April, not February. Sorry if I said April or February. I meant April. Gosh, words are hard. I'm getting confused. But anyway, so in April, I had a lot of no stitching days. So this is my daily tracking sheet. So you can see for the month of April here, I had a lot of no stitching days in the month of April. And you'll see all these orange days here. Those are days that I had off work. Mom and I went to a retreat April 4th, 5th, and 6th. That was the retreat up in Warren, Ohio, for the Western PA, Eastern Ohio Facebook group, Stitchers. It was the spring stitch-in up in Warren, Ohio. So Mom and I went to a retreat that weekend. And then starting on Wednesday, April 9th, I participated in the Black Needle Society Stitching at Downton virtual retreat. And that is where I got most of my stitching in. So I worked on, for the entire month of April, I worked on 3 cross-stitch projects. So when we went to the spring stitch-in Warren, Ohio, I took like 4 or 5 projects with me, but I only worked on 2 that weekend. So Friday night, I pulled out Heart and Hand Square Dance. And I don't think I had this for my video, my last video, but I pulled this out to work on it Friday night because I was hoping to get April done. So this is the Heart and Hand Square Dance series. So I am doing all 3 months. I have all 12 of them, but I'm doing all 3 months in one row together. So I can make them into a little Dobo pillow. So there'll be 3 months of Dobo pillows, or 3 months each. So 4 total of Dobo pillows for the entire year. And so I pulled this out at the Stitching in the Springs weekend. So I have October, November, and December started up there. And at the retreat, I was hoping to do April, May, and June. And so I got started on it and I was getting ready. So I got this much done on Friday night at the retreat until I got to the big carrot, one of the carrots in April. I think it was the striped carrot here. Then I realized that I did not have, or at least I thought I did not have, the one floss color that I needed. I needed Weeks Dye Works Sweet Potato. So I had to put it away because I thought I didn't have the piece. So when Mom and I got home from the retreat, I went to my local needle workshop here in Columbus, Cross My Heart, and I bought 2 skeins of Weeks Dye Works Sweet Potato to go for the April Square Dance because I thought I didn't have it. So I had picked up the 2 skeins of sweet potato only to find out in the bag, loose, was my glass bag with Weeks Dye Works sweet potato. So I did have sweet potato on me, unbeknownst to me, but I ended up buying 2 more skeins of sweet potato. So there is that. So now I can continue working on Square Dance. So part of my May plans includes working on Square Dance because what I'd like to do, where is it? What I'd really like to do is I'd like to finish up April, May, and June, and then get back into October, November, December. So I can finish up the two intended pillows. So I am putting all of them, all 12 months, on the same piece of fabric and just turning them into little pillows. This is a 40 count piece of fabric. I am stitching this on 40 count raw Newcastle linen using the called for floss. I started this October 12th, 2024. And I started with November. This is by Heart and Hand. So this was the first piece I worked on in the first retreat in the spring stitch-in up in Warren, Ohio. And this is how I've got them laid out for stitching. So there's 2 inches in between each one of the sections, or each one of the 3-month patterns. So that's how I have it set out. All right, so I haven't brought this back out since April 4th because I thought I was still missing the floss for it, which I wasn't, but I didn't know that at the time. So Square Dance is going to be coming out hopefully in May. And hopefully I'll get to finishing that because it seems like it's going to be a pretty quick stitch. All right, so the second piece I worked on the weekend of the spring stitch-in was Be the Good by Amy Bricken Designs. And this is in my mesh bag, the mesh project bag. So this is the design, Amy Bricken, Be the Good in the World. And that weekend, that stitching weekend, I put in almost 700 stitches in Be the Good. So this is where I'm at for it. I have worked on this a little bit in May. So far, I've put in 55 stitches in May. The 55 stitches that I got in were the green stitches in the W for the word world. But I went basically from the door and this, I had this done. I think I had this much done, but I did basically all of this from the good and then world. I did all of that pretty much in April. I stitched all of that in April. So on this one, I had stitched 1,146 stitches in the month of April. Okay. And then we get to the Downton Abbey on the Black Needle Society Downton Abbey retreat in a box retreat that started April 9th and went until April 13th. As I was kitting up my project for the Black Needle retreat, Downton Abbey retreat, I forgot that I had the Downton Abbey Grande tote bags, cross-stitch project bag. So I dug the project that was in it out, and I put my Downton Abbey cross-stitch retreat piece in my Downton Abbey bag. So the Downton Abbey retreat piece is called I Am a Custodian, and it's pattern number 47, designed by Catherine Landis of the Black Needle Society. She's the daughter. So she designed this Highclere Castle Downton Abbey pattern for the retreat. And this is part one. I believe there's going to be up to 4 parts. So this is part one. I am a custodian. And it says, I am a custodian, my dear, not an owner. I must strive to be worthy of the task I have been set. So it's a really neat pattern. These are the called for colors, the DMC threads that are called for in the pattern. And I am stitching this on a piece of 40 count Grace Notes fabric in almond milk. I'm doing it 1/2 full cross. And I cut my fabric down. I've got to serge the fabric, but I've cut my fabric down. And during the retreat, I put in a whopping, let me get the numbers for you. I put in a whopping 1,298 stitches in this piece between April 9th and April 13th. And this is where it got me. So you can see I have a pretty good outline of the Highclere Castle. This needle minder here is the Dowager Countess, and it says, "What is a weekend?" That was the exclusive needle minder from the Black Needle Society Downton Abbey stitching box. And I chose my fabric. It looks kind of greenish down here, but it's not really. It's kind of a tan. It's kind of a tan color. And I'm using the called for DMC flosses. But this is 1,298 stitches, too short of 1,300 stitches. So this is currently residing in my Downton Abbey Grande tote bags stitching bag. So, great. Great. That was a thing of little teeny itty bitty bits that I have to now sweep up. Anyway, um, that is pretty much all the projects. So in April, I stitched 2,517 stitches. I had the one new start with the Black Needle Society I Am a Custodian chart, and I worked on 3 projects. Square Dance was the one I worked on the least. That one only got 73 stitches on Friday night at the Spring Stitch and Retreat. Then Be the Good by Amy Brooken was the second piece, the second most stitched piece at 1,146 stitches. And then I Am a Custodian by Catherine Landis, the Black Needle Society, had the most stitches in it in April with 1,298 stitches. So had a really good stitching month, even though I had 18 days in April with no stitching. So I stitched a lot in April over about 12 days. Over about 12 days. So I got a lot of stitching done in 12 days, which is really kind of cool. So I don't know if I can tell you the most stitching I did was Friday the 11th. It would be Saturday, April 5th at the Spring Stitch and Retreat. I stitched 571 stitches. So I made a good progress on Be the Good. So that was the most stitching I did in one day in the month of April. So I didn't do much challenge stitching in the month of April because I decided, if you've watched any of my videos in the past, I've been participating in a lot of Facebook challenge stitching groups, and I kind of decided towards the end of last year that I was burning myself out and I was trying to track too many stitching challenges that I wasn't getting a lot of stitching in. I was only stitching basically about 100 stitches every time I sat down to stitch, which isn't a lot. I had the least amount of stitches in the last several years last year because I think I was trying to track too many stitching challenges. So I have weekly tracking sheets that I use to kind of keep track of what stitching challenges I was stitching for. I will show you an example. So here is this week's stitching challenge tracker that I was using. And as you can see over here, I put some of the groups that I'm stitching for, but I would put the stitching challenge, how many stitches I needed, how many stitches I stitched, and I would check off when I would post my ending photo. So I was trying to do that every night. And so if I was stitching for 3 or 4 challenges in one group, I had each challenge listed so I know how many stitches I needed to stitch for those challenges. Well, I was taking too much time writing this out every night, and I was really burning out and really not getting much stitching done. So I've been trying to cut back a lot on my Facebook challenges that I am stitching for and trying to focus some more on just doing a few others, just doing a short few. So the 2 that I'm probably going to continue with the most is daily cross stitch and cross stitch 25/7. Daily cross stitch is to stitch 50, the goal of that is to stitch 50 stitches every day. I'm not stitching every day, but when I try and stitch, I need to put in at least 50 stitches. And then cross stitch 25/7, the goal of that group is to stitch 25 stitches, 25, 7 days a week, 25 stitches a day for 7 days a week. So 25/7, that's why it's called that. So if I do 50 stitches a day, that automatically puts me into 25/7. I'm also not stitching for every day because as you see here, I put in some stitches on Tuesday, but it is now Thursday and I haven't stitched every day this week. So I've only put in my 55 stitches for this week. So I'm way behind on stitching and I don't know when I'll be getting to stitching next. So it's been kind of nice though because I can focus on some other things and I don't feel like I always need to be checking into Facebook groups. So yeah, that is a good thing. So I am working on whittling down my stitching. So for May plans, I am kind of actively participating in WIPGO. At least I would like to think so. Whip Go is basically work in progress bingo that was started by Jessie Marie of Jessie Marie Does Stuff here on YouTube. She started Whip Go several years back as a way to get herself motivated to get more progress on her whips, her works in progress done. So she opened it up to people that wanted to participate, and it took off like wildfire. So there are thousands and thousands of people across the world that are stitching with her every year on WhipGo. Here is my WhipGo bingo board for the year 2025, and the boxes that are either colored in or circled in color are the boxes that have been called so far. The ones that are solidly filled in are the boxes that I have completed. So I've only completed 3 boxes out of the 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Out of the 10 that have been called, because this is the month of May, out of the 10 that have been called, I've only completed 3 of the 10. So I'm a little behind. So the month of May boxes that were called, square number 9 up here is a 40 count plus project, and square number 19 right here is a project in the current season or summer. I put generic prompts in here last year or the year before last because by putting in actual projects, I wasn't wanting to stitch on the project the month it was called. So I decided to kind of leave it a little more open-ended for myself and only put in like prompts, so to speak. So I could kind of choose as that month got here and the box was selected, I could kind of choose the project at the time that I was kind of wanting to work on. So I mean, my nose is itching just a little bit. But anyway, so as you can see, I have quite a bit of catching up to do. So part of my goal for May is to catch up on some of my WhipGo stitching. So this box here, this was for February, and this was Stitch on a Project from a magazine. Well, I am working on Amid Amish Life, which was published in the old Cross Stitch and Country Crafts magazine. Or was it Cross Stitch and Needlework or Cross Stitch and Country Crafts? It was back in 1987. I only have 150 stitches left to do on that one to mark this February box off. So I'm hoping to get that done for February. And I'm also hoping to finish Be the Good because I don't have very much. I probably have less than 200 stitches. Maybe, actually, it's probably more about 500 or 600 stitches on Be the Good by Amy Birkin. So I'm hoping to finish that for May. I might be doing the magazine monthly challenge Facebook group acrostic. So the magazine monthly challenge group was a group, a Facebook group started by Carolyn Zook of C Zook Stitch here on YouTube. She wanted to kind of come up with a challenge group that would focus on all of your magazine stitching, like all the pieces all the patterns that were published in magazines over the years. And that's why she started the magazine monthly challenge group. So each month you have a theme. This month is antique. So you pick a project that would fit into the theme of antique. You pick a stitching goal and you stitch it. Then this month's acrostic is mahogany. So you take the letters of the word mahogany and you match them with something to do with any of your projects. It could be the design name, could be the designer name, it could be something in the project. You could come up with a color, you could come up with a fabric type, you could come up with a floss color. It could be an item in your piece that you come up with, like a man or a monkey or whatever. You come up with something and you match some of your whips to the letters in the word mahogany. You pick a stitching goal and you stitch it for the month. This is really the first time that I am taking a look at the acrostic for the month. So, yeah, I haven't really picked anything out. So I may be stitching on that and I may not. So there are no more stitching retreats this month. Sorry, that's an itch right there. I'm gonna cover my nose. Um, but on starting on Thursday, May 15th, is International Hermit and Stitch Weekend. That is another Facebook group where the whole premise of that group got started because a couple of ladies decided that they wanted to see um, they wanted to have kind of a online like get together where people just get together and stitched all weekend. It's called Hermit and Stitch Weekend, International Hermit and Stitch Weekend, where you get on and you just stitch all weekend as much as you can. And some people do hotel stays where they gather with a bunch of friends and they hermit at a hotel. So it's just trying to get as much stitching done as you can on any given weekend. So this month, International Hermit and Stitch Weekend is May 15th through the 18th. I don't know how much stitching I will actually do that weekend. I didn't do any stitching for the one in April, but yeah, and International Hermit and Stitch Weekend in June is happening during Origins Game Fair. So my husband and I will be going to that. Um, little life update. This past weekend, my husband and I attended Buckeye Game Fest. So we used to be members of a local board game group here in Columbus called Columbus Area Board Game Society, also known as CABS. CABS runs the boardroom library at Origins Game Fair every year, and has since it has been here in Columbus more than 20 years ago. And I volunteer for running the library so I can get into Origins Game Fair. They branched out and started their own little mini board game weekend several years back, and I've been volunteering for that. So that the Buckeye Game Fest board game convention, board game convention was this last weekend downtown at the convention center, and Dylan and I went. I volunteered again, got in free, and so starting Thursday morning, we played board games and hung out with some of our local friends that also play board games, and we were there Thursday, Friday, and Saturday and had a blast. Came home with a stack of games, really cheap or free, and just had fun. We hadn't seen some of our friends in a little while, so it was really great to spend time with them. Origins Game Fair is coming up the weekend starting Wednesday, June 18th and going until Sunday, June 22nd. My husband and I will be going. I will be volunteering for the Origins boardroom through the Buckeye Game Fest group, and we will be playing board games with tens of thousands of people at the convention center that weekend. So Buckeye Game Fest is about 1,000 people big. Origins Game Fair is about 20,000 people big, so it's quite a bigger convention held for board games and such. Looking forward to Origins coming up, and there really isn't any other retreats coming up. So my local needle workshop here in Columbus, there are quite a few really nice ladies that work and own the local needle workshop here in Columbus called Cross My Heart. And one of the ladies who also attends Camp GottaStitch, which is the retreat hosted by Cross My Heart up in Amish country that Mom and I attend. Her name is Melanie Pratt, and she was a good friend. And she was also into geocaching. I don't know if you've heard of geocaching, but I started geocaching in 2003, and Melanie is a geocacher as well. Melanie is a prolific stitcher. She's a prolific cross stitcher. She is also a storyteller. She used to do storytelling up at the Cedar Bog, which is a nice little nature preserve type area here in Ohio. I think I want to say it's kind of north of Dayton somewhere, but she used to go to Cedar Bog all the time and storytell. She was a really nice lady. I was watching her cat at some point last year when she had her first knee replacement surgery, and she went in in March for her second knee replacement surgery, and everything was going well until she got home and wrenched her back. Not long after surgery, she was home only a few days, wrenched her back, went back into the hospital. Melanie passed away unexpectedly on St. Patrick's Day, which is kind of ironic a little bit, because she was Irish, and she could speak Gaelic, and she was very much she was a bright spot in everybody's thing. So she went into the hospital and pretty much never recovered. Unfortunately, her cat Luna Bond, very sweetheart of a cat. Luna was left without her human, and Melanie's housekeeper that I got to know when I was watching Luna the last couple of times last year when Melanie had been in the hospital for her surgeries and stuff. Melanie's housekeeper was taking care of the cat while she was in the hospital this last time, kind of unexpectedly, because she already had keys to the condo and everything like that, and I couldn't take care of the cat because we had just started back to work 5 days a week in the office, and I couldn't leave the cat and not give her attention until the evening, because Luna was used to being fed twice a day, in the morning and in the afternoon. So I couldn't leave Luna, and I couldn't leave Luna until the evenings when I could go take care of her. So the housekeeper agreed to watch the cat. Well, when Melanie died kind of rather unexpectedly, due to complications of various things, and there were some things that we didn't know about her health that were a little more serious than she let on. When she finally died or passed away, the complications that threw us into a loop. So on March 18th, my birthday actually, I was at dinner with a bunch of friends for my birthday, and I got a message from one of the ladies at crsmyhrtlt just letting me know that Melanie had passed away on the 17th. I was kind of a little devastated. So I finished up my birthday dinner with my friends, and I went home and they started to cry because at Camp GottaStitch, I had to go back and watch my Camp GottaStitch video from last year in August, because Melanie and her really good friend Susan, that was kind of her caretaker and her chauffeur and stuff for the weekend, and her roommate for the weekend at camp, were sitting at our table all weekend, and I loved Melanie. Melanie was a great person, and she was so nice, and I was shocked and devastated, just like everybody else, that Melanie had suddenly passed away. Anyway, the good thing is, her housekeeper called me Wednesday morning, because her housekeeper had my phone number, and her housekeeper was like, if you know of anybody that could take Luna, can you please reach out to somebody to see if they would be willing to take her sooner rather than later, because they didn't know what to do. The housekeeper had three big dogs. We have 5 cats already, and Luna was a solitary cat. Luna's an older, probably in her early teens. Sorry. But Luna was an older cat. Sorry about that, you guys. And she was solitary. So I knew I couldn't take her because we have 5 cats, and we didn't think that she would get along with our 5 cats. So we knew darn well that 1 or 2 of our cats would not get along with her. So we couldn't take her. It broke my heart. Absolutely broke my heart for Luna, because Luna didn't know that she lost her human. It was hard. It was really hard. So I went when I was at crsmyhrtlt, not this past weekend, but the weekend before last, I found out that one of her other friends took Luna in. I was so happy. I was so happy for that. So Luna has a home. I'm really glad. But I also found out that this coming Saturday, May 10th, is Melanie's celebration of life here in town. So, Cross My Heart is closed on Saturday morning until after 2 o'clock. Well, everybody attends Melanie's celebration of life. And so please, please, if you can, lift up Melanie Pratt's family in prayers and her friends in the cross-stitch store. Melanie was a long-time associate at the Cross My Heart. She knew a lot of people. A lot of people knew her, and she's gonna be greatly missed. She already is greatly missed. So we're kind of all expecting to meet. All of the ladies from Cross My Heart should be at Melanie's funeral. I will be at Melanie's funeral. So we are celebrating the life of Melanie Pratt. Hopefully we're celebrating Melanie Pratt's life on Saturday. Camp GottaStitch this year is gonna be a little bittersweet, because the entire weekend at camp this last year, Melanie said that she was always, she'd been pretty much wheelchair bound for the last several years. She hasn't really been able to get up and walk around. She was, she was overweight. She was older. She was, I think, in her 60s, and having mobility issues, like, we tend to when we get older. And the entire weekend at camp, she was talking about her knee replacement surgeries coming up at the end of the year and beginning of this year. And her whole goal was to be able to walk into Camp GottaStitch on her own this year. She was really hoping that her knee surgeries and everything would allow her to do that. So we were talking about that all weekend long. And she won't get to walk into camp this year. So this is really lost a good friend. So anyway, if you can, just say a prayer. Looking forward to sending her along the way on Saturday. Yeah. So Camp GottaStitch. So speaking of Camp GottaStitch, I'm gonna try and light this up. Sorry, I'm crying, you guys. I'm also getting over a head cold, so I'm really stuffed up, and crying isn't helping. So anyway, Camp GottaStitch. Cross My Heart has announced that, and so here's the other crazy thing about it. Melanie had paid for camp early. Melanie had, some inside information. She had the money, so she set aside the money and had Cross My Heart hold it for her until they had a thing. So Melanie already actually paid for her Camp GottaStitch attendance this year because she was hoping to walk into camp. Anyway, Cross My Heart here in Columbus has announced that Camp GottaStitch for 2025 is the weekend before Labor Day. So it is August 22nd to the 24th up at the Grande Hotel in Berlin, Ohio. It's up in Amish country. So it's about an hour and a half drive northeast of Columbus. And it's at the Grande Hotel in Berlin, Ohio. So it's August 22nd to the 24th. If you reach out to Cross My Heart, they can take all your information to be included in the camp information, and they can get you registered for camp. So I don't exactly remember the exact price of the weekend for Camp GottaStitch, but your retreat costs include your hotel room, your dinner Friday night, your breakfast Saturday and Sunday because the hotel has free breakfast, and a buffet dinner down the hill at the Homestead restaurant, which is an Amish buffet restaurant, on Saturday night. So basically everything is included in the retreat cost for the retreat. your hotel and your food, except for your lunch on Friday and your lunch on Saturday. If you decide to stay on you can also pay to stay Sunday night. Mom and I have paid to stay Sunday night, so we are going to Camp GottaStitch. You can choose to add on Sunday night for an additional charge. And stay until Monday. So basically, the stitching room is going to be open pretty much. The stitching room starts opening sometime after 6 p.m. on Friday, and will stay open as long as people are stitching in there until Monday. So Monday, there's really no stitching because everybody's packing up to go home. So until the last person leaves Sunday night and leaves to go back to their room or leaves to go home on Sunday night, you can stitch all weekend long. So there is no set schedule. There are no classes to take at this retreat. It's simply just you come in and stitch. And your retreat thing, when you sign up for the retreat, you also pick whether you're a linen stitcher or an Aida stitcher. And then throughout the weekend, you are given different kits throughout the weekend based on the retreat thing. So, I forget the retreat theme this year. They did announce the retreat theme as well, but I forget. So you will get kits throughout the weekend with either linen or Aida in there, and all the floss that you need to complete the kit throughout the weekend. So your retreat cost includes your hotel, your food, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, except for lunch, and the retreat and all the free kits and everything else that they decide to give out at the retreat. It's just a nice little stitching retreat. You get to kind of hang out with people. There's about 50 to 60 people that are at the retreat, so it's a relatively small retreat. Unfortunately, Melanie won't be there, which is going to be kind of bittersweet. But yeah, looking forward to that. So Mom and I actually paid for the retreat 2 weekends ago. So we're in for the stitching Camp GottaStitch in August. So be looking for that. Another new little bit, I talked about Origins Game Fair. So Mom and I have been attending the Stitching in the Springs retreat in Yellow Springs, Ohio. The last 2 years, they've had 2 retreats, one in the spring, one in the fall. And at the fall retreat last year, they announced that there would not be a spring retreat this year. So Mom and I have not gone to Yellow Springs yet this year. The fall retreat has not yet been announced because Kat Jones, the kind of coordinator for the Stitching in the Springs retreat, who also used to work at the Mills Park Hotel in Yellow Springs, Ohio, where the retreat happens, she has left the hotel and is working on her own business. Her and a friend of hers are opening up a new needle workshop in the Dayton, Ohio area. It's going to be called Nook and Needle. They are still in the process of setting up shop, but it is going to be a book and craft store. I think they're also going to have like drinks and maybe some light food. I don't know about food, but it's probably going to be drinks, like some alcoholic drinks maybe, and also coffee and whatnot. So it's going to be a book and craft store type thing, and they're also going to have a stitching space. So it is called Nook and Needle. I will put their Facebook page and some of their social media links down below in the description box. So be on the lookout for that. And also, if you go to Kat Jones' Facebook page, Valkyrie Stitchworks, I believe I think she's going to be keeping that open because that's her private stitching business. Because she makes project bags and some other stuff. I think she dyes fabric as well. But if you go to Valkyrie Stitchworks, that is where she usually has the retreat information. So hopefully the Stitching in the Springs retreat will be happening in the fall. We shall see about that, but she is opening up a needle workshop sometime soon. Hopefully they are in the process of getting the space renovated and painted and set up and everything. So be on the lookout for that. I will put links to that below. Don't really have much else going on. Mom has started physical therapy to try and get leg strength back and to try and build up her stamina. So she's been working through that. Um, the Women's College World Series, which is college softball, they are doing the Women's College World Series selection show this Sunday, which is also Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to those of you that are mothers, whether it be mothers of furry children or mothers of human children, or just, you know, it, you like to take care of other people's kids. th- Happy Mother's Day. But the Women's College World Series team selection show is on Sunday. They are picking 64 college teams to participate in regional tournaments. The regional tournaments start next Thursday, I believe, either Thursday or Friday. So next week starts the regional tournaments. The weekend after that are super regionals. So the first set of tournaments next week, there will be 64 teams, and they will whittle down those 64 teams to 32 teams. So they will cut the teams in half for the super regionals the following weekend. And then from there, they will get the top 16. And then the top 16 will play starting the weekend after that for the Women's College World Series softball championships. So lots of softball coming up the next couple of weeks. I'm looking forward to that. Mom and I went to a couple of Ohio State games. We actually went to one last week. When did we go to Ohio State? We went to Ohio State on Friday. No, last weekend. Anyway, I went to an Ohio State game at the end of April, and yeah, I had fun. It was good. It was a good time. Ohio State won. Ohio State's actually been doing pretty good. I think they're going to be invited to one of the regionals, so I'm looking forward to that. And just looking forward to watching some good softball. It'll be interesting to see who is competitive this year. I have some teams I like to follow: Alabama, Oregon, Oklahoma, UCLA. One of my high school classmates, her sister is the coach of UCLA. Um, Inouye, Kelly Inouye. Um, Kara Inouye was my classmate. Kelly Inouye is the coach of UCLA softball, and so yeah, I kind of sort of follow them. But anyway, that is what I've got for you. It's going on about 53 minutes. This is kind of a life update. So I don't know when I will be getting to another update video this month. It just kind of depends on how things go, and how much stitching I get done. I may not have a whole lot of updates to show you. So for May, I'm going to be concentrating on WhipGo. I have several squares to get done. This month, Square 5 was called, which is a 40 count, a project on 40 count fabric. And Square 19 is a project in the current seasons or summer. So I still have to pick the projects that I'm going to stitch for those two squares. And then I'm going to work on Square Dance. I've got to finish Be the Good, and I'll probably do a few Facebook challenge group stitching challenges this month. Just trying to get some more stitching in. I don't know if I'm going to beat April's stitching total of 2,517 stitches. I'm just hoping to stitch some this month. June is going to be taken up mostly by Origins Game Fair and some other things going on, and we shall see that. So if you can, please keep Melanie Pratt's family in your prayers. If you knew Melanie Pratt, feel free to leave your memories of Melanie in my comments, and I will be glad to pass them on to family and friends at her memorial service on Saturday. If you've heard her tell stories throughout the years, leave those too. Um, I unfortunately never really got the chance to hear a lot of her stories except for the ones that she would tell at camp. Um, I should have went to Cedar Bog to see her, but I never did. Um, lost opportunities there. So kind of missing my stitching friend Melanie, and we're just kind of coming together as a group on Saturday for her memorial service. She was a really good associate and a really great friend to all of the ladies at Cross My Heart here in Columbus. So they're closing the shop so they can all attend Melanie's memorial on Saturday. The shop is slated to open sometime after 2 p.m. on Saturday. If they decide to open at all, they may decide to close down for the day, but anyway, I will put the information on how to contact Cross My Heart about Camp GottaStitch in the box, in the description box below, and also information about Kat Jones's new business venture, Nook and Needle, the needle workshop opening up in the Dayton, Ohio area. So hopefully you can kind of get in touch with them and figure out when they're opening so you can come visit. And just looking forward to getting some stitching done and just general life things. Looking forward to softball in the next few weeks and just kind of getting on with life and dealing with some stuff. So thank you very much for letting me talk about Mel and crying a little bit and being real with you guys. Um, in the next couple of weeks, just keep your head up and keep moving forward because it's really all we can do. And we'll see you soon. Okay, you guys? Thank you for being a friend and thank you for stopping by tonight. And I hope you found some inspiration here. I hope you found some good stuff. And I hope to see you at some of the retreats that Mom and I will be going to here soon. So take care and we'll see you soon. Bye.